Why didn't I book the event? Why didn't I book the event? I did everything I could. I don't understand why they went with somebody else. I hear this a lot. And what I have to say is you were outsold. That means that your competitor did a better job at selling than you. Now, how does that make you feel? Pretty bad, huh? All right, so we've gone over lots and lots of different techniques, but it comes down to the close and getting that signed contract. However, there's no magical thing about the close, because if you're doing all the techniques, the close will come naturally. Alrighty. All right, so we have to identify buying signals and closing the sale, because I think that we're missing them. Closing the sale. Yeah, this one's easy. If they start pulling their wallet out, I think you know you got the close. But when a client has made the decision to book you, they can sometimes express their desire subtly. This expression could be verbal or nonverbal, in the form of a change of their tone of speech or body movements. But to effectively identify buying signals, you should be able to listen and watch out for cues that indicate the client's interest. A good salesperson must be able to make out subtle buying signals to know when to close the sale. Cues shown by the client can either be verbal or nonverbal, and oftentimes a client will show repeated patterns of verbal and nonverbal cues. But we're not noticing the shift in the patterns, and that could indicate a change in attitude. Verbal cues refer to the client's words, right? Buying signals can take on that in a form of statements or questions from the client. A passive client who suddenly begins to ask questions or shedding more light about their needs for their event is verbally showing you signs of interest. And you should listen to what the client is saying and how they are saying it, because verbal cues go a long way in telling you what the client wants. A client who is confiding in you and telling you about issues experienced by past vendors or asking you questions on clients you have worked with on similar events is signaling interest. It shows that there is a level of rapport and the client has a measure of confidence. And that's all that is needed, is a little nudge from you in the right direction. Buying signals can show up at any time in a meeting, any time. And it's up to you to recognize these signals so that you can react accordingly and move toward the close when it's the most suitable time to do so. Yeah? All right. But there are statements and questions like these that could indicate a client's interest in booking, right? Are there any other styles or colors to choose from? How much money do you need to start? Do I have to pay it all right now, or can I do it in installments? Do you offer any other discounts? You guys, if you hear any of these questions, you go right for that close. Answer their question and then go right in and get them signed. But nonverbal cues refer to the client's body language, voice inflection, and tone of voice. Did you know that 55% of human communication is nonverbal? Nonverbal expressions provide you insight into the attitude of the client. By being attentive to these cues, you decipher the client's feelings. Some general guidelines for body language cues frequently experienced during sales interactions are these. You ready? Uneasiness or suspicion. They'll be clearing their throat, picking at their skin or clothing, averting the gaze with you, hands covering their mouth, rubbing their nose, eyes, crossing their arms, turning aside or moving away from you. Frustration and defensive,ness, crossed legs and arms, sighing or huffing, running hand through their hair or rubbing the back of their neck. Interest or evaluation. They'll be tilting their head, removing or peering over their eyeglasses, stroking their chin, hand on the bridge of their nose. Distraction or disinterest. Staring, doodling, drumming on their phone, attending to somebody else, and head resting in their palm. Agreement or cooperation. Sitting on edge of their chair, leaning forward, open arms and hands, touching gestures. Uncertainty or doubt. Touching or chewing a pen, rubbing thumbs together, shaking their head. And then there's confidence and trust. Straight back, smiling and preening at you. Yeah, I love this slide. These are a bit obvious because we can certainly read her emotions. A measure of intuition and interpersonal skills will help you to recognize and interpret a client's feelings. I mean, we can really interpret these feelings, but be vigilant to recognize a change, especially in nonverbal cues. For instance, a client who has been leaning back in the chair all the while suddenly leans toward you. This shift of body language signals an interruption in the client's thought process or change in attitude. So it's critical that you take time to recognize the client's readiness to buy. No matter how competent you are, if you don't develop these skills in recognizing buying signals and closing the deal, your career in the event industry will suffer. I really believe that. And many salespeople make the mistake of selling themselves right out of the sale. If you don't pay attention and recognize the buying signals, you could miss the window of opportunity. And when the client is most receptive to booking. So pick up the buying signals and then move right in and close that sale. Okay, folks. Well, you're not selling if you're not closing, right? So one of the most crucial stages of selling is closing. You're not selling if you're not closing the sale. Closing can be scary, and the moment of truth when you find out if you're going to book the event or not, in the sales process, you should discover the client's needs and effectively communicate how your products or service provide a solution to the client's needs. If you achieve these two, then there should be no obstacles to closing this deal. Sometimes the client closes the deal for you, and that's the best case scenario. But at other times, you need to move to close the deal yourself. And it's very important that you develop closing skills. Sales materials like brochures and flyers and social media marketing, that can spark an interest in a client and help you start a conversation. But the client books after they have discussed their needs with you, seeing that they can trust you and have confidence in you, and that you will help them achieve an amazing event. But when closing the sale, don't push to close too soon. Asking for the close too early makes you seem pushy. There's a natural point in a conversation where it's time to close. And if you continue the conversation beyond that point, you risk raising issues that did not exist before. There are many strong ways to close a deal. Okay? And here are some lines for closing. Finally, you have to assume that you have the sale. These aren't questions. These are, let's move forward and confirm this on our calendar. I am so excited to be working with you. I can't wait to see this all come together. Let's get you on the books. Right? But let's assume you are nearing the end of the selling cycle. And your client has the proposal and is satisfied with the price and certainly likes you. You ask the client for the sale and they say that they need to think about it a little more. Think about it? What more can you do? I mean, really? They want to think about it? here's the thing. I want you to watch this video clip and see if you can find out how this sale turned around.
So, how are your daughters?
They're great, thanks. How about your grandkids?
They're fine. My son-in-law has just enrolled our oldest, Ralphie, in a computer camp, whatever the hell that is.
This is my boss, Carter Duryea.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Kalb. You have a really awesome company here. It's a really awesome.
Your boss? He looks more like your nephew.
Yeah. I've certainly been learning a lot from Dan, so.
So what happened to your eye?
That's one of the things he learned from me.
Are you saying that you punched him in the eye? Why?
Well, we don't have to really go into it here.
No, please. I'm rather curious.
Why did I hit you? He called me a dinosaur, said I was out of date, that I better step in line.
So, you slugged him?
It was a fair fight.
Right. Mr. Kalb, we have a sister company, Crispity Crunch, that I think we could do a really exciting cross-promotion with here. All in the Globecom family. I think that we could achieve...
Carter, it's okay. Mr. Kalb, I don't want to get into facts and figures with you today. You know them already. I just want to ask you one question. What is your hesitation about advertising with Sports America magazine?
My hesitation is that our ad budget is already overextended. My son-in-law has put a lot of money into cable and online, and now he wants to plow even more money back into it. But
what?
But he is such an asshole. I mean, I built this business. I know more about running this than he ever will. So yeah, I'm going to make a major ad buy in your magazine. And then I'm going to restructure the whole damn ad campaign.
That is great news. Thank you, Mr. Kalb.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir.
You know, I don't give a shit about Crispity Crunch. Let's just stick with the magazine, okay? Really slugged him?
Carter?
Oh my God. Oh my God, that was amazing. That was unbelievable. God, that was actually fun.
What Kalb really needed to see was an old fart beat the crap out of a young punk half his age. You know what the best thing is? It's the right thing to do. It'll improve his business.
Wow, you actually believe in this stuff, huh?
Of course I do. Why else would I do it?
All right. So what happened? I wish I could hear you. All right. This sale turned around because Dennis Quaid asked one question. Can you figure it out? All right. If you said, "What is your hesitation?" you are absolutely right. What is your hesitation? Holy cow, what a loaded question. This turned everything around. The old man was tired of his son-in-law making all the decisions. You know, damn it, he runs this company. He ran it for years and he knows what to do. So he decided, from asking that, what is your hesitation, he figured out why and he went for the ad. At that time, it is important to ask this question exactly. What is your hesitation? They will indeed answer this question. And it could be as simple as they didn't like the floor plan or as complicated as we're just not sure. The floor plan you could easily fix. But if your client is not sure or needs to think about it more, then you did not do a good job in selling. Sorry to say. You need to start from the beginning because somewhere along the way, you did not make them feel like they were confident in you and your company. And that's hard. That's hard to swallow. Okay. So, if your client states that they love everything but needs to speak to their boss or their father, or they need to attend another meeting with another company, that's understandable. I mean, we get that. However, we can't let them walk out the door. And too often we do that because what are we going to do? We can't stop them. We can't, they have to talk to their father, they have to talk to their boss, or they have another meeting scheduled. And this is when we lose the sale. This technique that's coming up is the number one technique for my sales team. It is technique number 12, the express refund. Okay, so here is the express refund. Since we can't guarantee that your date will remain open, we recommend locking into your date with a deposit, whatever you want to put as your deposit. Because we realize this is a big decision, we offer a grace period. If you change your mind by whatever date you decide, whether they have to meet with one of your competitors, or they have to meet with their family member or whatever, just put that date in. We will return your deposit in full promptly. This way, you have the security of knowing you have your date while you're confirming your decision. This works, guys. This really, really works. And this is the number one sales techniques that my team loves. Have them give you a deposit at the time and give them time to talk to their father or attend another meeting. If at that time they do not want your services, you promptly return the deposit. No questions asked. This is a win-win. So after you explain the express refund, you must leave the room. You need to give the client time to discuss this with one another. Think of it. When you buy a car with your spouse, and this happened to me. Let me tell you a little story. My husband and I were going to buy a car, and right before we walk in, he says to me, look, we're just looking today. I don't want you to get like all excited. Yay, it's red. And you will ruin my negotiations. I'm like, okay, fine. So we found a car that we saw on the internet that we really liked. It was the brand, it was the color, everything I liked about it. And now we're sitting in the sales office. The salesperson states that he may be able to lower the price a little bit, but he needs to talk to the manager. So he leaves the room. Now, my husband and I are looking at each other and saying, this price isn't so bad. It's only $100 different than Kelley Blue Book. I mean, this is ridiculous. We should just get it. Why did he leave the room? So we could have this conversation, right? We would have not had this conversation if he didn't leave the room, because Andy told me that we were not buying a car here. We were shopping for cars. Now what this did was gave us permission to break our verbal contract and get this car. So we didn't have to go to the other meetings, right? So don't forget, the couple agreed that they were just looking. So it's important that they have a conversation to break their deal, right? That is why car salespeople leave the room. They are not going to talk to the manager. They know exactly what their margins are, right? Technique number 13. Okay. Good old car salesman. Leave the room. You must leave the room so they can talk about it. Okay, folks. So here are the rules for closing, but it's really a no-brainer. Because if you treat closing as a process, this is part of the process, you want to set an appropriate closing objective. You want to let close emerge from conversation. Yep, let's get you on the books. You want to wait for the right moment. And then you want to celebrate because you're going to book it, I promise. This is going to be so exciting for you guys. All right, does everybody know what their closing ratio is? You should. All right, how to determine what your closing ratio is. I don't want you to add up all the shoppers or all the people that are calling just to find out pricing or whatnot. I want you to add the people that you've had a good conversation with, at least 20 minutes, or a first meeting or proposal. So that would count. Then you add those up for the month, and then you add up how many bookings you had, and there you go. There is your closing ratio. Divide them together and get the percentage. All right, folks, that's it. That is the close. So if you used all the techniques from the inquiry to the close, there are 13 techniques, and I know you can do it. Now, if you need to refresh yourself with all the techniques, I have the 13 sales techniques in Module 2, and it goes over all of them, and it's all in one place. Because if you master these 13, guess what? Your sales are going to soar. Trust, they will soar. Okay, goodbye for now.